Buongiorno, oggi preparo un casserola. Il mio defunto fidanzato, I had to write it down, è morto 12 anni fa e detto che sua nonna l'avrebbe fatto per lui. I just said today I'm going to prepare a casserole. My late boyfriend, he passed away 12 years ago, said that his grandma used to make this for him. He called it pasticcio. Pasticcio, well, he was Sicilian. And in Sicily there are many different nations that had occupied it. Arab, Greek, and both of those nations also have, they have something called pasticcio, which is like a hodgepodge, a mess, casserole, that type of thing. So that's what I'm going to prepare. And I'll show you what we're going to use. These will be our ingredients. I have some thawed out artichoke pieces, prosciutto, eggs for the dip, and breadcrumbs and flour. This is what I'm going to fry the carciofi, the artichoke carciofi. There'll be carciofi fritta, fried artichoke, prosciutto, that's raw ham that they rub salt into and they let hang for 18 months. It's very, very solid taste, very strong taste. Then you have a latte or pane, it's milk or cream, or I have half and half. I call this shaker cheese, or I might use shredded cheese, I don't know. I'm going to put some flour in here and maybe a little of the shaker cheese. I'll put eggs in here. I will fry the artichoke. Oops. And it'll go in this casserole dish eventually. This. Well, let me just tell you how it's made. Basically, it is a layer of prosciutto, some bechamel, which is a classic white sauce with a little bit of nutmeg sprinkled in it, cheese, fried artichoke, layer by layer by layer. That's basically what's going to happen. And because I have very, very small quarters here, that's it for my kitchen. I'm going to make the bechamel sauce first and put that aside in a bowl and then clean out the pan and then put some cooking oil in there, and I'm going to make the fried artichoke. And the prosciutto I don't need to do anything with except layer it when it comes to doing that. And I'll let you know how much of what I use as I'm going along. For the bechamel, it calls for 2 cups of milk, 6 tablespoons of butter, and 3.5 tablespoons of flour, and then a sprinkle of nutmeg. The milk I'm going to warm up. It works a little better if it's warm, not hot, but just warm. Okay. Now we turn on the heat, put in the butter, and the cat's at my feet. He wants some more. You haven't even had it yet, so you want more. Okay. Because I know you're making something I'm going to like. Yes, probably so. You eat everything. Yeah. Yeah, I know. This may take a little time. Butter's nearly melted. 3.5, okay, of flour. 1, 2, 3, and a half. Don't need those. I'll put those away. Don't need this. I'll put this away, sort of. I'll stir this around. Get any lumps out of it. I could use a whisk, but this thing works pretty good. You want to kind of incorporate this a little bit for a couple minutes because you want to get that raw flour taste out. So you kind of cook this just a little bit before adding the more milk. This should make about 2 cups of the bechamel or the white sauce. If there's any left over, it will store nicely in an enclosed container in the refrigerator for up to 5 days. It's starting to form little bubbly stuff here. I'm going to switch to the whisk for a moment. This should thicken a little. If it gets too thick, you can add a little more milk or water. Just a little bit at a time. Or if it's not quite thick enough, you can add just a little bit of flour. But hopefully this should be just about right to make as a sauce between the layers of fried artichoke and prosciutto. And I'm going to add the nutmeg now. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. That's about it. You don't need too much of that. I guess you could salt and pepper just a little bit if you want to. I'm trying to cut down on salt. I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and then whenever it's served you can season it the way you want. Or just enjoy it at its natural best. Okay, this is going to take a few minutes to thicken a little bit because this doesn't heat up like a regular stove very well. I forgot to tell you the Italian words for flour is farina, butter is burro, and milk is latte or cream pane. And the artichokes are carciofi, because that's more than one. Carciofo is one. And prosciutto, you know. And to fried artichokes are carciofi fritti. It's starting to thicken just a wee little bit. You could probably see better if I put this back in. It's starting to become so that it coats the scraper. You don't want to burn it. So it's getting there. I can't really adjust this burner very well. It's just a little cook thing. I don't have a stove. Oh yeah, I can tell. It's starting to see how it kind of stays on the spatula a little bit, or scraper, whatever this thing is called. Or you can use a wooden spoon. Most Italian women use women's spoons? Yes, wooden spoons for everything. So I cleaned out the pan, dried it. Now there's some oil heating up to cook. If you're using something that has an actual temperature gauge, it's about 375 Fahrenheit that you want to fry it in. 350, 375. And there's the egg wash. Let's see there. Egg wash. Here I have Italian breadcrumbs that you can get in a can from the store. Flour and Parmesan cheese. I call it shaker cheese because it comes in this thing here. And what you do, it's like a 3-step process. First, you get the artichoke pieces, not really dredge them, but I'll show you. Here's some artichoke pieces. Kind of dip them in the flour, mix, and they'll come apart. Don't worry about it. When you make a whole artichoke, you gotta spread the leaves and put stuff in between anyway. If it goes in between, so much the better. There'll be more crunchy stuff. And I dip it in here, back into this, and put it in there to fry till it's golden brown. Now they're boiling away. I don't know if they call this thing a spider. They have them that look like a little wire, but this one just has metal with holes in it. It's great for like making donuts or anything else that you're frying, French fries. It drains and it keeps your hands far away from the boiling oil. Now what I will do when they get more brown and crunchy like on the outside is I will transfer them onto this. I have a glass pie plate and it has paper towels on it so they can drain. The oven is starting to warm to 375 Fahrenheit. It hasn't got there yet. During the meanwhile, these are becoming golden brown. While you have them waiting and you're frying all these and you have some draining and waiting, you could put them in a warm oven, not a hot, just to keep them, I've already eaten a couple. Yeah. I like the fried artichoke by itself. It's good in the casserole too. I will tell you, as any fried thing, the pan has to be large enough. If the oil's too high and you put in some cold or damp things like this in the oil, it starts getting foamy. And the more things you fry, the length of time, like 3-4 batches or something, it's going to do this. So be very, very careful. You don't want it to boil over and possibly set things on fire. So it takes longer. That's okay. I'd rather you be safe than in a burn ward and the house in crumbles. I'm keeping an eye on this so it doesn't boil up anymore. If it does, I lift the pan, take it off the heat, and then lower the thing and wait a minute or two. So we've got a little bit of egg stuff left and some of this crumb stuff. And what do? We do what my friend Salvo does. Salvo Aurelio. His channel is called You Better Call Sal. Well, what you do is you make the best of it. You mix them together. You make like a little patty. I can put another egg in there and make a bunch of patties, actually. I think I will. Okay, let's use the rest of this crumb and egg stuff. Alright. Now these are egg. Well, an egg is meat, I suppose, if you're, eating, if you're vegan or vegetarian or whatever. But this doesn't have anything else in it. You can crumble it up, use it in your salad. You could use it as a snack. Sit down with your coffee. That's what I'm going to do. While I make the casserole and have it in the oven, I'm going to eat some of these as a snack with a good cup of strong espresso. It's winter. It's cold. But I don't have any grappa. Or I'd have un caffè corretto. Un caffè corretto translates to a correct coffee, which is one with grappa in it, which is a fermented grape skin remnants. After they make wine, they ferment the skins and make this stuff that burn the hair off your whatever. I mean, it's strong. Yes, let's go burn the hair off of our whatevers. We're getting there. Won't be too long, we'll be putting it all together. I do this when I fry anything like chicken or whatever, if I have extra egg and breading, or you can just do egg and breading and do this. But this way I'm not throwing out egg or breading. Yep, there's a lot in there. I have to be really careful so it doesn't overflow. That would be bad. While we're waiting, I'll show you this. This is sliced prosciutto. It's not prosciutto di Parma. I think it's made in this country. When I stayed in the Friuli region, North Italy, I was very fortunate enough that the person I stayed with, when he was younger, had worked at San Daniele prosciutto place. They take great big leg of a pig that are specially bred, and they rub it with salt. They have these guys rubbing it with salt. Then they put it in a press. They put a pig leg, board, pig leg, board, pig leg, and they squeeze it until the pig leg goes from being round to being oval. Then they rub it with salt again, they massage it with salt, and they hang it up in these big warehouses with fresh air coming through all the time. There's no flies or anything. And they let them there for, oh gosh, I don't know the length of time. But they take a bone of a horse leg, it's about this long, that's tapered to a point, and they stick it in the meat, and the guy smells to it. And the guy that's doing the prosciutto knows that particular smell. He knows exactly when it's done. And when they serve it to you and they slice it, it's thin enough you can see through it. And that's what it's supposed to be. Thin enough to see through. You want some prosciutto? Mangia prosciutto? Sì or no? You want it or not? You miss out, sorry. Turning it off, but it's still hot. And that is still boiling. This doesn't have anything that will put a taste in anything. Sometimes you're frying fish or some other thing, chicken or whatever, which puts an added whatever taste into the oil. If you want to neutralize it, you're going to use the oil again. Take a piece of potato and it will soak up the whatever. Uh-oh. It landed on my foot. I don't see a cat running to get it. I guess he doesn't like it. Oh well, it's on my foot. I've eaten things off my foot before. Magic time! Okay, now we start layering our stuff. Fried artichokes are good with dipping, like marinara sauce or something. I mean, they're good to dip in spaghetti sauce. I'm sorry if that offends any real Italians out there, but I think Americans do that kind of thing. We don't mean any harm. Ooh, here I thought I was going to have too many artichokes. I have some put aside still. Okay. this is where we put prosciutto on, layer by layer. I'm glad they put the paper between the layers. You'd probably never get them apart. How thin that is. I'm going to tear it up into little bits. Let's see, should I sing something Italian? No, please, no! I think that's Napolitan music. And we're ready for another layer. You can do this as many layers as you want, or you can just leave it like that. Put it in the oven for, I don't know, 30 minutes so it browns. You can put more cheese, real cheese on top. So this is our basic our pasticcio. Alright, we've got 2 layers of the carciofi fritti and some layers of the prosciutto. Now we're going to cover it with this, the remainder of this. And I decided to put some shredded cheese on top so we'll know when it's basically when it's done, because it'll brown just ever slightly. Since this is basically, unless Brian and Ashley want to try it, basically me and the cat, so I'm using my hands. And yes, I have washed them a few times. This is about as simple as you can go with. You can make things more complicated if you want, but that's going to be pretty simple. Now it's into the oven. While I wait for that to cook, I'm going to nosh on these. I have a nice cup of hot espresso. This cup is real pretty. It says, "Let's get lost." I don't know if you can see the design without me spilling it on myself. We've got somebody at my lap who thinks he wants some of this now that the plate's on my lap. Oh my god. The leftover egg thingy mixture, he just took a piece that almost half the size of his head. You better not make a mess. He's even holding it with his foot so no one takes it. And now for the truth. How did it turn out? Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. It's still bubbling bloody hot. That's what it is. I'm going to have to wait about 10-15 minutes till it cools down enough to slice some and eat some. Buon appetito. Yum. Upward and onward.